Hello, welcome to Roadrunners at Home. We are back. Hope you're already excited for what we've got in store for you today. Lots going off. There's some new stuff. There's some old stuff. First of all, we're going to have Phil. He's going to be doing a talk a bit later. We've got myself. I'm going to do the craft. That's going to be fun. And then we've got other little bits and bobs that are going to be happening throughout each episode of Roadrunners at Home. The first one is somewhere hidden in the video will be a clue to either what we're talking about today or what we're talking about next week. Keep an eye out for that. If you miss it, don't worry. The genius of this is it's going to be online again. You can watch it again. You can either use this version you're watching now. That's always going to be on YouTube. But I'll put a link in the chat to our other family YouTube channel, which will have this loaded up onto it as well. So then you can watch just the Roadrunners part and do the craft on that channel. So that'll also be linked in. We've got the picnics in the park. Second one today. If you're around, grab your parents, say, Mummy, Daddy, I really want to go for a picnic in the park. Auntie, Uncle, whoever you're with, come along to our picnics in the park. Please use the booking system. If you've not seen it, it's in the emails. If you've missed the emails, shout in the chat. We'll post a link to that in the chat as well for you. Come and book in and then come and join us. That's all for the track and trace government guidelines. But come and join us in the park. That's going to be fun. That will happen every other Sunday. So we get a chance to meet each other, get a chance to have a proper face-to-face chat. I know we can't be in a building yet, but that's a good starter point. So that's going to be done every other Sunday. And then on the alternate weeks, we're going to be doing Zoom chat, which means you can log on to Zoom, have a good chat with us there. It's almost as good as live, not quite, but we're almost there. So join in on that. Details for that will be going out every week. We have a new thing. Last season of Roadrunners at Home, we also linked in these stories that were activity story you could do at home. Some of you might have done them, some of you might not have. Don't worry about that because we've got a new one coming. Another church has done an amazing calendar. And every Sunday, in fact, at about 12:30 today, your parents are going to get an email with this weekly calendar. It's going to be 7 days. There's 3 boxes in it. It's quite exciting because it's going to journey through the whole Bible in a year. It's going to be picking out some of the events that happen throughout the year, especially as higher churches do, some of the special celebrationary events, and it's going to be using them to look at stories in the Bible and really get to grips with it. But it has 3 boxes every day. Now you can do what you like with those boxes. I think I'm going to use 1 box for prayers, 1 box for thank yous, and then the 3rd box, maybe something new I learned that day, something that struck me maybe about the Bible, which chapter we've been reading for the week. And there's going to be all these different things you can do. You can use it to write your homework due dates in, to write things that you've got coming up in the week that are exciting. But every Sunday, that's going to be sent out to you guys ready for Monday. And it's a Monday to Sunday calendar. And that will be happening pretty much for a year. All going to plan every Sunday for the next year. That will be arriving in your parents' emails. And hopefully, by the end of it, you'll have a really exciting calendar. You'll have got to know your Bible even more. And we'll all be together again, having really good conversations about it. So get involved in that. But that is enough of all the exciting new things we've got. We've got more things in the works that we're going to try and get going. We look forward to seeing you every other week when you're around and then on Zoom. But right now, let's get stuck in with the usual Roadrunners. Let's go. Good morning and welcome to Roadrunners Craft. Today is a really easy one. All you need is 2 bits of paper, some colouring pens, some sellotape, and if you fancy a straw, I don't have a straw, so I'll just tell you about that bit at the end. And all you've got to do to start with is colour one side of the paper and make these as pretty as you can. Let's get colouring. Now you can keep decorating for as long as you like. I've done 2 very different things just for the fun of it. But what you need to do then is get a pencil, pen, whatever you want, and start off with the first one. Roll it really tightly. Roll it really tightly. Get your bit of sellotape. and sellotape that shut. And then get your other one. This one, you don't need to do as tight. So this one you can roll by hand. And roll it so you have an end that is bigger than the other end, so like that. I'm going to do mine like that. Again, sellotape it down. So you sellotape that one down as well. And then you literally just push that one in. Maybe it'd be easy to go that way. Push it through till you have a nice long horn. Sellotape the two together. Don't quite know why I showed you sellotape as though you'd never seen sellotape before. Sellotape two together and you are left with a really nice long horn. If you're clever, you get a straw. You chop the end of the straw so it has like a triangle like that. Push it in there with the triangle that's sticking out, and then you put it in your mouth and you have a trumpet which will make a proper trumpet sound. And you can now march around your house with your trumpet. If I lay that there, can you see that? There you go. It's too big for the video. Your trumpet.
Hello, it's great to be back with you doing Roadrunners at Home for a new term. I hope you've had a really good summer. Did you enjoy the good weather? Did you get out to do anything exciting? Did you get away on holiday at all? I know we're under lockdown, but I'm sure you managed to get out at some point. At least I hope you did. Now, one of the things I like to do when I go on holiday is to visit castles. I like to pretend that maybe I lived there hundreds of years ago, or maybe I was one of the soldiers guarding the battlements, looking out for knights and soldiers coming to try and take over my castle. It really gets my imagination going. This is a castle I went to a couple of years ago. It's called Framlingham Castle in Suffolk, and it's up on a big hill. So as the soldiers on the battlements, you could see for miles around if people were coming to invade. Now, this is a castle I went to a long time ago. In fact, when I was the same age as some of you, I went on a school trip here and we all got to dress up. And I remember when we arrived, a horse came galloping past with a knight on it. And then we went inside the castle and we did various activities. It was a really fun school trip. Now, this looks like a castle, but it isn't. It's actually the gate to a city. In this case, the city is Jerusalem. Now, lots of old cities would have walls around them for the same reason that castles have walls around them, to protect the people inside that lived there. And that brings us to today's story, because at the heart of the story is a city. And the city was Jericho. Now, Jericho was in Canaan, and it was the last obstacle that the Israelites had to overcome before they could claim that the promised land was theirs. The Israelites had been holding on to a promise for hundreds of years that God would give them a land of their own. They'd been slaves in Egypt, and they'd just endured 40 years in the desert. And now they were there, but this city was in their way. I'm sure lots of the Israelite soldiers were getting ready for a big fight. How were they going to do it? Were they going to climb over the walls? Were they going to try and sneak into the city? How would they take it over? But God had other plans. After all, this was his promise. God sent an angel to talk to Joshua, and the angel told Joshua God's plan. And then Joshua went and told the soldiers and the rest of the people. He said, we're going to march around the city once a day for 6 days. And on the 7th day, we're going to march around the city 7 times. And then we're all going to blow our horns. And then we're going to shout. And when they did, the walls came crashing down. The city was theirs. At last, they were in the promised land. So I like to think about how Bible characters felt when they were going through the stories that we read about in the Bible. I wonder how those Israelites felt when they got into the promised land only to see this huge city. They probably thought they had quite a difficult job on their hands to take over the promised land. But God, of course, had other ideas. I wonder how the soldiers felt when they were having psyched themselves up for a fight and Joshua came to tell them that actually God had other plans. I wonder how they felt when they were marching round the city. Did they feel that God was going to do something amazing? Or did some of them maybe feel a little bit silly? And how did they feel when that miraculous thing happened and the walls came crashing down without them doing anything? We don't know how they felt, but what we do know is they learned that day that God keeps his promises. And the great news for us is that God is the same, and God still keeps his promises today. So we should trust him, even if we don't fully understand what's going on.
Wasn't that a great first Roadrunners back? Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you so much, Phil. Really good challenge, really good thought. Are we trusting God even when we don't know what's going off? They had to go 7 times around that thing before they saw God do something that was so amazing. Sometimes you just got to sit and trust God, even though what's going off around you doesn't quite make sense. I like it as a challenge. Really good. All that it leaves me to do today is to say thanks so much for joining us. If you're watching this live, come and join us in the park. Links in the chat. Click on that so that you can come and book in. If you're not joining us live, see if you've noticed any of the little hints that we put in. Maybe something to do with today's story. Maybe something to do with next week's story. You never know. See if you've spotted anything. And then we will see you all, same time, same place, next week. Check out your emails. The email should be arriving very shortly. Get onto the calendar thing. And have a great rest of the Sunday. Have an amazing week back. I know most of you have started back at school or nursery. We pray that you had a really great time. And last week, if you did start last week, and if you start this week, we just pray that you'll have a really good time this week. And outside of that, enjoy what God has got for you, what he's got in store for you, and what he's already done for you over the last few months. Thank you for joining us. I'm off.